Hello, Fightful Faithful, and welcome to SOUR GRAPS. I'm your host, Alex Pawlowski, and everything sucks. Here's a riddle. How can you take a number one contendership gauntlet match, make it go for an hour, and then have it mean absolutely nothing? If you say that's impossible, how that's not possible, how no one could do that. Aha, I give you Vincent Kennedy McMahon because, oh, golly. Yep, that was a waste of an entire second hour of Raw. And because it was only one match, and I don't really usually review the actual wrestling, just, the stupid incompetence behind the booking, there's not a whole lot for me to discuss. So, in addition to talking about Raw from tonight, I get to talk about TLC. I know I said I was going to do a bonus episode last night after the thing, but I forgot. It was late, and I didn't want to talk about TLC. It was too depressing. So I'll talk about that tonight. So you get a bonus, longer episode of me gabbing about terrible WWE stuff, but anyway, let's start with that with the TLCs. On the pre-show, they had Humberto Carrillo versus Andrade Almas. Now, if you know what happened tonight, that leads to something. But we've been trained by WWE to understand that whatever happens on the pre-show doesn't matter. Doesn't count. Who cares? So if you're going to have a match on the pre-show that deliberately leads into a major plot point for this guy who all of a sudden you've decided to call the best up and coming rookie ever in the history of wrestling, after having him had him lose a dozen matches, it felt like. Then it's weird that you put that on the pre-show, since you told us the pre-show doesn't matter. Anyway, the wrestling is very good. Andrade gets cut, his eye, left eye, cut right here. He's bleeding a lot. It adds to the match. It's a good match, hard hitting. Humberto Carrillo has an amazing moonsault. S.A. Rios is watching from 1999 and going, hey, that's a damn good moonsault. It is. It's the best I've seen since S.A. Rios. It's amazing. And it's good that he wins matches with it. And so he wins, and then later we'll talk about what happened with him tonight, which I didn't understand. So we'll talk about that when we get to Raw. Also on the pre-show, the Revival pay a visit to the preview desk where Booker T is there, and they have a problem with Booker T talking smack about the Revival and how he thinks the New Day is going to win and everything. They say, well, you're a big tough guy there wearing your suit and your earpiece. You can't fight us. We're the best tag team that's ever lived. We're Hall of Famers. You don't deserve the tag team, the Hall of Fame rings you're wearing there, Booker T. We deserve it. We're Hall of Fame tag team already. You guys can't do anything. You can't do anything about it. You Harlem Heat, you can't do anything. And I'm just like, wow, if this is really laying it on thick for a possible Harlem Heat reunion, it would be peak WWE to send Dash and Dawson out of the company and into the waiting arms of AEW. If they say, okay, here's our final offer to extend your contract, and Dash and Dawson say, no, we're not doing it. We're not going to resign. They say, okay, well, here's the last thing you're going to do because you're under contract to us. I mean, I guess at that point, what would make Dash and Dawson say, okay, we'll job out to a tag team from the 90s on our way out, but it would be peak WWE to do that. I'm not saying they're gonna, but would you be surprised if Stevie Ray and Booker T put on the old flame unitards again and came out talking mess with the shades and the gloves and they all they did was like, hit an axe kick and a flapjack and a spinneroonie and 1, 2, 3. Like, it wouldn't have an actual match. Can Stevie Ray still go? Can Booker T still go? I mean, if so, if you want to give him 4 minutes, fine. But I was thinking it would probably be more like a summarial beatdown, like, the Revival talking crap, and then then you hear yes, 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 no, 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 and Harlem Heat comes out and beats the crap out of him, and that's it. And then bye Dash and Dawson. One caveat, though, they said after we beat the New Day, then we'll come back and talk to you and see what you have to say, Booker T. But they didn't beat the New Day. Spoiler alert. So maybe they're never going to go back and talk to Booker T. We won't get that dream match between, like, if you're telling me that 2019 Harlem Heat versus 2019 Revival is happening, I'm not interested. But if there's a time machine involved and we can send the Revival back to 1997, or if we can bring 1997 Harlem Heat here, I'm all about that. That'd be an amazing match. Harlem Heat was fire back in the day, no pun intended. But now they're very old men, and I don't want to see them beat up 2 men in the prime of their careers. But if they are going to go to AEW, that'd be a great way for WWE to try and sour you on them by having them job out to 2 dudes in their 50s. This ladder match, though, the SmackDown Tag Team ladder match was very, very good. Very innovative. Used a lot of good ladder spots. Couple of botches, but it's a ladder match. Things aren't going to go perfectly all the time. I will say both Scott Dawson and Big E at different times in the match had really bad spills off a ladder, or I think at one point Dawson had a ladder dropped on him, dropped on his leg, and Big E fell off a ladder and landed really awkwardly, and his knee buckled under him. And both guys sold it as though their careers were over. And while that's really a testament to how great they are at selling, guys, my heart can't handle it. If you're telling me that Dawson and Dash were this close to getting out from under WWE and going to AEW and having matches with the Lucha Brothers and the Young Bucks, only for Dawson a couple of minutes before his contract is up to tear all the ligaments in his knee and get a compound fracture or something. And then that's it. He can't wrestle anymore. Stop making me believe that even for a second. Curse you for being so good at your job, Scott Dawson. And you too, Big E. Like, I was thinking to myself, if Big E's knee is blown out and he's out for as long as Woods is, what's the story they're going to tell with Kofi Kingston? Like, gosh, I hope, golly gee, I hope I can get a shot at the 24/7 title, because I'm never allowed to be near a top singles program again. That's what I've been told. But I'm going to be happy about it because I'm Kofi Kingston. Anyway, New Day win. Probably the way it should be. And there you go. Dash and Dawson, it should be noted, are also now full-fledged henchmen for King Corbin. Does the title of King, does that have monetary benefits? Because is he hiring these men? Can he just say, hey, man, I know, it's Christmas time. There's a little bit of extra from me. Help your kids get a happy Christmas. Is that what he's doing? Because if so, his payroll is just, I don't know, the overhead for just crazy. Or is it like a king? So he just gets to decree things, and maybe it's part of his taxation. Is you could either bring me 30 head of cattle and a basket of myrrh, or you could, try to help me beat up Roman Reigns. I don't know. We'll figure it out together, I think, over the next few weeks. Let's be honest, months. They're going to have Corbin be the king for months, years, maybe. He may be King Corbin until the day he retires. Because, Vince McMahon thinks it's funny. So that's all that matters. What happened next? Oh, what happened next is I love it. Aleister Black versus Buddy Murphy. Can we have that forever, please? Best of 777 series, please, between Buddy Murphy and Aleister Black. They're awesome. They were so good in this match, man. Buddy Murphy lost, but only because he got hit. He ducked one Black Mass, hit a whole bunch of kicks and knees and stuff on Aleister Black, missed with a knee, and then Aleister Black hit him with the next Black Mass, and he went down like a sack of dirt. Awesome. God, this was such a great match. Aleister Black's nose got busted, like he was bleeding out his face. The worst part about this whole match is somebody designed trunks for Aleister Black, made him look like he crapped himself. It looked like he had a big old black mass right in the middle of his trunks, like there was a hell maw that had opened directly in his anus, and it was trying to get out. This was what was. Just imagine my fingers are pitch black, and they are of the devil. People watching on YouTube, if you're listening on a podcast, this is why you should watch on YouTube. Imagine my hands are black, and they are of the devil, and they are escaping through Aleister Black's butt crack. That's what it looked like. But I mean, Buddy Murphy's pants are all tattered and they're weird, so I guess I can't judge. I love both of these gentlemen, and I want them to go to the very tippity top. They're so good. This is what WWE wrestling should be. This is how good most of the people, the younger people you have on your roster are. They could be having this kind of 14-minute fucking strike fest every time you send them out there. If you wanted them to, but you don't. You better have them do fucking chin locks all goddamn day. This was amazing. This is my shit right here. If you want to you ask, what does Alex Pawlowski like to see in his wrestling? Watch that fucking shit. Aleister Black versus Buddy Murphy, TLC 2019. That's my shit. Loved it. Loved it. There's an alternate reality in which Aleister Black is groomed and built to face Brock Lesnar at this year's WrestleMania, with the thing that, like, all I got to do is catch you with one of those Black Masses, and even you're going down, Beastie. Like, there's some good stuff there, man. There's so special. And at that same WrestleMania, Buddy Murphy, in this alternate universe, enters WrestleMania holding the U.S. title. And he faces Andrade and Ricochet and AJ Styles in a fatal four-way elimination match at that WrestleMania. That's the WrestleMania I'm booking for 4 months from now. Would you like to watch that, or would you like to watch Harlem Heat beat the Revival? I mean, if you had the choice. We don't have the choice. I don't get to book shit. Somebody give me a promotion to book and give me these kind of wrestlers. Yeah, do that for Christmas. If you think something to give me for Christmas, that's what you should give me. Yeah, this was awesome. Spoiler alert, it's not over. They're taping stuff for next week's Raw because they're not making them work on the 23rd. So that's nice of Vince McMahon, considering he made them work on the 25th a couple of years ago. So they're not making them work on the 23rd, so they're taping everything now. So spoiler alert, this feud continues. And I'm happy about that. Merry Christmas to me. Okay. After that, after that, this is where the whole fucking thing went downhill. God damn it. Viking Raiders announced earlier in the week we're going to have an open challenge for our titles. at TLC? And to me, the only answer is AOP. AOP is they've made their presence known. They're active. They're healthy. They've been healthy forever. So they come out and they have a hard-fought but decisive, clean victory over the Viking Raiders. Like, just vicious. You know what I mean? And the Viking Raiders get bested for the first time. Like, really bested. Not like, oops, we lost part of a gauntlet match to the OC, and I guess the OC are the best tag team in the world now. Don't get me fucking started on that shit. But there you go. AOP versus Viking Raiders. That's your tag program for everything leading up through the Royal Rumble all the way to WrestleMania. And you align the Viking Raiders with Kevin Owens because they mutually hate AOP. And AOP is aligned with Seth Rollins. And there's your deal. At WrestleMania, Seth Rollins, Kevin Owens, AOP, Viking Raiders, 6-man tag, no disqualification. That's your big smash match of WrestleMania. They're not going to do that though because they'd rather have the Viking Raiders align with Randy Orton and go up against the OC with AJ Styles. Because guess who comes out to accept the title challenge? It's the OC, and everybody on commentary unironically referring to them with a fucking straight face as the best tag team in the world. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Look, they lost 5 straight fucking matches, real matches, to the Viking Raiders before Sands of Time. And then they won that gauntlet match. I mean, via chicanery, if I remember correctly. So they got a trophy now. They're not the champions. They're just dudes who lose a lot to the team that they're facing. Stop it. This segment has been called Stop It and has been brought to you by Stop It. Stop calling them the best tag team in the world. They're not. They are a great tag team. For everybody who's in my mention, somebody, they won the title tournament in Japan in 2013. They're former IWGP champions. Yes, but WWE has spent the better part of their entire time back in WWE telling us, they're fucking they're basically overblown jobbers. Like, they lose a lot of fucking matches, way more than they win. So while you're right in that they are a great tag team, WWE has insisted on presenting them as not that. So there you go. Stop calling them that. Anyway, this match is a commercial for KFC. If you did not see it, I am not joking. They put 4 obvious plants, a family of 2 dudes in their 20s and 2 women in their 20s, a family. Their seats upgraded to sit ringside between the barricade and the ring at a table, eating chicken and mashed potatoes that Vic Joseph is literally drooling over. He's salivating like, oh, those mashed potatoes sure look good. At the end of the match, because, oh, by the way, this tag match that nobody wanted also had a bullshit finish. A double count out. Whee! And at the end of the match was a brawl that involves somebody getting getting put through the KFC table. It's a fucking chicken commercial, this match. Fuck me. This was definitely better than a Viking Raiders versus AOP match and feud. Sure. Yeah. Oh, I forgot to mention this. At the very tippity top of the pre-show, Charlie Caruso said the match that will kick off tonight's card or what tonight's festivities, something like that. Kick off the night, something. She said the match that will kick off something is Asuka and Kairi Sane versus Becky and Charlotte. So, as of that moment, at least Charlie Caruso is saying it and thinking it, and relays it to your public. We only had decided to put one women's match on the entire card, and also it's going on first. And also, it's one of the matches most people are looking forward to watching. So sometime between that and the end of the pre-show, when they were like, "Oh yeah, New Day and the Revival are going on first." So, I mean, the best possible use of Vince and his crazy steroid dementia, being like, I gotta overthink things over and over and over again right up to the first bell. Yeah, that's this. I mean, I'm glad that we'll talk about it. I'm glad that Roman and Baron Corbin did not go on last. But they did, kind of. They did. And had there not been a horribly unfortunate accident in the women's TLC tag match that really made a lot of things messy, I think that match would have been really great. As it is, it did not turn out great at all. But it was ultimately the right choice to make them go on last. Because the TLC match between King Corbin and Roman Reigns is dog shit. Not dog food, which plays a part in the match, you understand. But dog shit. Fucking dog shit. Yeah, don't. Whatever. Like Roman, it's Roman versus 10 guys. Roman versus like Corbin and Ziggler and the Revival as again, who are his henchmen. And like, I don't know, 6, 7, 8 dudes, foot soldiers in black khakis that he's fighting against the whole thing. And eventually the damned numbers game. And so he gets beaten up and they beat him up. And so he loses. The only reason that they made this stupid thing into a TLC match to begin with, because there was no titles. A TLC match has titles hanging above the ring, because part of the L in the TLC is basically, it's a ladder match that also has tables and chairs in it. That's what it is. And a ladder match has a title hanging up over the ring. This is just a hardcore match. A bad one. A bad one. Baron Corbin hits the end of days onto Roman Reigns. Steel chair. Roman Reigns gets mercilessly beat up, but a couple hours later, an hour later, he's not feeling any effects of those things because whatever. Here's something. I know this is old. Everyone was talking shit about this a couple of years ago. Roman Reigns wears a padded vest. It's body armor. It is protection from body shots. When you got him on all fours and you're hitting him with a kendo stick across the back, that does not hurt him. The fact that they actually are directed to do that to him, and then Roman's directed to go, ow, my back! Like the whole point of a kendo stick is that it pinches your skin. It leaves welts. It doesn't actually hurt. There's no weight to it. It can't crush bone. It stings, but it won't sting if you hit somebody who's wearing somebody go out and put on a flak vest, and then also go to your local dojo and get your buddy to hit you while you're wearing a flak vest and somebody hits you with a kendo stick. You're not going to feel a damn thing. It's just stupid. I've been saying for years that somebody, a smart heel, would be like, okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to rip this vest off of you. And then, because I have a sneaky suspicion that your weak point is your ribs. Maybe you got an old football injury you don't want anybody to know about. Joe Anawai, former football player. So I'm going to rip off this padded vest you're wearing, and I'm going to hit you with the end of a chair over and over again in your ribs. Like that's a smart heel. We're going to talk later about smart healing. Do something smart. Don't do something dumb. Dumb stuff is stupid. This was stupid. This was dumb. This was fucking awful. But we all know it was going to be awful. You know what wasn't awful? I didn't think. A lot of people thought it was awful. I didn't think it was awful. Bray Wyatt now, he's a fucking genius. God damn it. He is. I grew so tired of The Fiend with the red light and the fact that nobody could hurt him. And he's just, there's no mystery left in that guy. The Fiend. Bray Wyatt has a match against The Miz. Bray Wyatt comes down to the ring. He's so happy to be having a match, Bray Wyatt is. He's wearing the sweater and the little corduroy pants. He's got the hair did up and he's smiling the whole way through. And he loves when people put him in pain. He's Bill Murray from the Little Shop of Horrors movie from the mid-'80s. I don't know if anybody's seen that. I'm very old. But Bill Murray has a cameo where he goes to the dentist and he's a masochist, so he loves pain. And so he asks the dentist to use the most horrible things on him. And the whole time he's like, oh, this is great. Oh my God, I love it. So that's Bray Wyatt in this. He gets, they have The Miz break his arm Pentagon Junior style from the first season of Lucha Underground. And Bray Wyatt laughs about it, but then realizes he can't wrestle a match if his elbow's dislocated and his shoulders popped out of joint. So he flings himself as hard as he can in the barricade and pops his shoulder back in like he's Mel Gibson in Lethal Weapon Part 2. And he ends up winning the match because, he doesn't feel pain. I mean, that makes now sense what happened, why the Fiend doesn't. But after he wins the match, hits his sister Abigail on The Miz, he looks up on the Titantron, and there's the Fiend just looking at him. And he gets so excited. It's like, oh, yeah, he's here. And then he looks at the Fiend, and he says, okay, I'll do it. So he can communicate with a figment of his own imagination up on the Titantron. And he goes and gets the mallet that he wanted to use during Hell in a Cell. And Michael Cole says, what the hell is that? And Corey Graves like, it's some kind of mallet. Yeah, I know, but did you see the Tron? Yes, Michael. Yes, 51-year-old grown man who gets paid a handsome living to talk about this shit. Yes, we saw the Tron, Michael. Oh, God, he gets worse and worse and worse. Anyway, he doesn't get to hit the Miz with the mallet because Daniel Bryan shows up wearing a hoodie. He hits the running knee and then he takes the hoodie off, and yep, it's the American fucking Dragon, kids. It's the American fucking Dragon. He's got the head all buzzed, the beard cropped tight. And he's not immediately doing the yes thing. The crowd is. But he's like unsure, which is, again, when the Fiend does something to you, it changes you, man, and not for the better. So I'm wondering when you see. I mean, he does hit the Fiend with a running knee, and not the Fiend, Bray Wyatt. And I mean, I'd be pissed at that guy who tore all my hair out too, or as Michael Cole says, his entire hair. He got his entire hair torn out by the Fiend. His entire hair. Again, this man gets paid a handsome living to talk. And he doesn't know how to talk. The tables match between Bobby Lashley and Rusev was awful. It was terrible. It was just awful. They couldn't even get the table spot right. He tried to spear him to the table. That didn't work. And then he suplexed him to the table. It was bad. It was a bad match. It was a really bad match. And guess what? It continues. So we'll talk about that. This fucking thing's going to last through Mania. It might last until SummerSlam. That's literally all I'm talking about. I'm not talking about the match anymore. Street Profits are backstage talking about Lashley and Rusev and how awesome they thought it was. And then there was a big backstage brawl that featured, was led by Roman Reigns and King Corbin fighting each other. The Revival, Dolph Ziggler, New Day, all back there fighting. Also, randomly, Chad Gable fighting Buddy Murphy. Chad Gable gets the double leg takedown. He's wallop on him right in front of Street Profits. And they look down, look at each other, pause for a second, and decide to start kicking Buddy Murphy. Now, Chad Gable, Buddy Murphy on separate shows. I don't know. But Chad Gable also in his gear for some reason. Why is he even in the arena? Why is he in his gear? Did he have to? Was he just out there just in case match broke out in catering? Apparently it did, and he's fighting Buddy Murphy. And the Street Profits see Chad Gable fighting Buddy Murphy. They don't know what context it is, and they start beating up Buddy Murphy, who's on their own show. But I was led to believe, as recently as 3 weeks ago, that brand supremacy ruled supreme. So shouldn't they be attacking Gable for beating up their dude who's on their show, Buddy Murphy? What the fuck was this all about? We'll find out in a second. TLC match for the women's titles did not turn out great. The reason is because Kairi Sane suffered a concussion, and then she wrestled the rest of the match, getting hit in the head a bunch of times more. If you tell me the original thing where she got a concussion was an accident and not the result of somebody being quote-unquote unsafe, I believe you. After that, though, went back and watched part of it. It sure looked like Charlotte was being extra rough with Kairi Sane because she thought Kairi Sane was sandbagging her. No, Kairi's not sandbagging you, Char. She just doesn't know where she is right now. Because she's by far, it looks to me, the smallest woman in this match. And you guys are tossing her back and forth. There was some really bad stuff in the earlier ladder match. There's a ladder set up in the ring. The New Day and Revival match. There's a ladder set up in the ring. And Big E's in the ring by himself. He doesn't try to climb that ladder that's already set up. He sets up a second ladder and then goes out and gets a third ladder and sets it up across the ladder and the turnbuckle. At any point, you could have tried to climb, but he didn't. I don't like when that happens. I know you got to set up the spots, but I don't know. Just try to climb the ladder because that's how you win the match. It's the same thing that Sean hates about, whenever anybody's shoulders are down and you don't try to pin them. That's the point of the match. You're trying to win. You're trying to win. The only way to win is to climb the ladders. So at one point, Charlotte and Becky are in the ring. Asuka's not involved. She's laid out somewhere on the outside. They're in the ring. Ladders are already set up. Kairi Sane's on the outside of the ring, throwing chairs at them. I don't recall if that was before or after she got concussed. But they're just sitting there like watching her toss chairs at them. And then she disappears under the ring. And instead of one of them going down there and keeping her under the ring and the other one going up to get the titles, or both of them going up to get the titles because one of them's down outside the ring, the other one's literally under the ring, they both climb out and pull her out so she can hit them with a fire extinguisher. Now, that was a very clever spot by Kairi Sane, but it relied upon her opponents being stupid. Now, here's some smart psychology, okay? At one point, Charlotte is out. I forget what happened to her, but she's out. She's on this outside the ring. She's out. Kairi Sane and Asuka tie Becky Lynch to a ladder with a rope on the outside. The ladder's laying down flat on the ground. They lie Becky Lynch flat on the ground, flat on the top of the ladder on her back, and they tie her to the ladder. Like it's a damsel in distress, and the ladder is the railroad tracks, and Asuka and Kairi are Snidely's Whiplash. That's a very old joke, too. Hit me up on the comments if you remember Snidely Whiplash. But, yeah, that was amazing. They like effectively eliminated one of their opponents from the match. Now, Here's what you do to be smart. You say, I'll go up and get the ladders. You take a chair. Find Charlotte and just keep hitting her with the chair while I climb up the ladder and I get the belts. But instead, they both climbed the ladder, and then Charlotte got in and beat him up. I think that was where there was a suplex, an exploder, like a T-bone suplex into the barricade when Kairi Sane, I'm pretty sure that's where she got the concussion. It didn't look good, man. What looked worse is later in the match, near the end of the match, Kairi Sane's supposed to take a spear on the outside, and she doesn't know where the fuck she is, and so she doesn't take the spear right. And it makes Charlotte look like shit. So Charlotte slaps Kairi Sane across the face. It doesn't look like, hey, this is part of it. It looks like, get your shit together. What the hell are you doing? And then Kairi Sane is a dead weight when Charlotte picks her up to powerbomb her through the table. Because it did look to me like Kairi Sane is going, oh, no, I don't want brain damage. Please don't powerbomb me through this thing. Maybe if I don't help her, she won't be able to do it. But Charlotte's really strong and Kairi's really small, and so Kairi got powerbombed through a table when she already had a concussion, man. It was rough. There was a lot of sloppy stuff. I think there's a lot of the innovation of it that I loved. I mean, I cannot tell you how much I loved them tying Becky to the ladder. If they had used that as part of the finish and that's how they won, it would be so great. It would have been so great. They didn't. Because eventually, Charlotte unties Becky and, blah, blah, blah. But the ending is actually kind of clever because they use the same ladder that had the rope still tied to it. That's the ladder that's in the ring. Becky's climbing it, and Asuka takes the rope and pulls the rope, which pulls the ladder, and then Becky falls. It's after Charlotte took a pretty good power bomb bump through a table of her own. And I mean, it did appear for people who were actually there saying that, like, Becky especially was trying to make sure that Charlotte, that Kairi was okay, but God, I don't know. I wish that a lot of the things that happened in this match that happened wrong didn't. I wish that somebody hadn't agented Charlotte and Becky to be stupid and not try and climb the ladders. I wish that amazing spot where they tied Becky to the ladder had actually been part of the finish, and that's how they won the match. None of those things happened. So the match didn't go off as well as it should have. But here's what's even worse. As Asuka is on the ladder, still pulling down the championships, like her match, her music had just started playing, and then cut to Roman and Baron and everybody else, everybody in the locker room coming out and brawling. Don't you understand? Everybody's at each other's throats. Everybody hates each other. What's coming up in 6 weeks? The Royal Rumble. We interrupt the celebration of the women's tag champs as the only women on the show to win a match, because there was only one match involving women. We interrupt their celebration to bring you this gentle brawl involving a spear from one man to another that knocks over 40 men as a promotion for a pay-per-view 6 fucking weeks from now. You couldn't have let it breathe just a little. Just a little. You decided that, like, okay, we're gonna give the women the main event, but we're not really. We're gonna have Roman and Baron get the main event. I mean, what can you do? Just the way it works, man. Just the way it works. Yeah. So here's that was TLC. That was all of TLC. Man, that show went down fast, downhill. So here's Raw, and like I said, the second hour was one match. So hopefully we'll be able to breeze through this thing. Seth Rollins comes down to the ring. He introduces AOP. They're down there, and he gives a really good promo. This is the kind of Seth that we should always get. Some guys are just meant to not be baby faces. Like, it just doesn't work out for Seth. He just doesn't fit him. He's so much more inspired when he's talking like this. I loved this promo. That was great. I love that he says, like, I'm a leader, and I lead by example, and if you don't follow my example, then I have the AOP and they will bend you to my will. That's a great heel. That's great heel stuff. He says that he's got a score to settle, and he wants to apologize in advance for what he's going to do tonight. I like that touch. I like that he's a reluctant heel. He wishes he didn't have to do this. He's not mad. He's just disappointed. I think that's something that we could really sink our teeth into, or he could sink his teeth into, and then we could sink our teeth into him. I don't know why we're biting him. We're biting Seth Rollins now. This is what I've decided. You know what else bites? A rematch of the KFC match from last night. Jesus fucking Christ, man. I'm so the OC has, and this is what this thing is, the OC has a rematch from their KFC match that ended a disqualification, a double count out versus the Viking Raiders. They have that match again tonight. It's a rematch. But here I was watching the whole match thinking it was another title match. It wasn't. So by the end of it, by the way, this match is boring and stupid, and I don't want to ever watch these guys wrestle again. Spoiler alert, I'm going to watch them wrestle again every fucking week for the rest of time, apparently. But I don't like watching the Viking Raiders wrestle the OC because I don't feel like these guys mesh well together. And at the end, Ivar goes for a moonsault from the top rope. No water in the pool, surprise, surprise, which leads to a magic killer and a 1-2-3. And at that moment, I was like, holy shit, they put the titles on the OC. Well, at least that's something. And then the OC run up the ramp, and they're all tearing cattles with them, and nobody's saying, and new Raw tag champs. I was like, this isn't for the title? Well, then what was the fucking point? Oh, the points so they can get a win, and then they can get. Oh, they've pinned the tag title holders. Now they get to have a title match. But the thing is they just fucking had a title match. They ended a double count out, so now their rematch should be for the fucking title again. But now the rematch of the rematch of the rematch is going to be for the title. But they'll probably lose that match because yeah. I should get my blood pressure checked. It's not healthy for me to be this worked up, I don't think. So yeah, I mean, what is what we're gonna get? We're gonna get the OC versus the Viking Raiders, and the Viking Raiders are gonna get a mysterious third partner. Just kidding. It's not Mysterio. It's Randy fucking Orton. God, I don't know. Eric Rowan. Eric Rowan has still got the fucking cage. He's saying to blonde Charlie Caruso. I don't know her name. It starts with an S. Is it Sarah? Sarah something, and Sarah Shriver, something like that. Sarah SS. We'll call her SS. He says to SS, do you have family? Do you know what family is? I got family, and family's in this. Family, and I family. Do you ever somebody that you would protect from the atrocities of the world? Do you? Well, I have advice for you. What's that? Mind your business. So wait, does he have like his? Do you have like a stillborn twin that he's just like keeping in a jar? They put that in the cage. That's something. It's different than what they're gonna do, which I'm pretty sure is nothing. I'm pretty sure the big reveal is gonna be that they pull off the tarp and we see that in the cage is nothing. It's all been a figment of Eric Rowan's imagination. Whee! That's gonna be fun. Anyway, this poor guy. Dante Leon, I guess is this guy's name. Dante Leon is heroin chic. He doesn't have an ounce of muscle on that frame, and he's wearing like a flannel tied around his waist, like it's Seattle in 1992, and he plays in a grunge band. And anyway, Jerry Lawler says, is he wearing a skirt? What's this guy's problem? And this is reason number 192 to take Jerry Lawler the fuck off the commentary desk. No, he's not wearing a skirt, Jerry. And I mean, not to be that guy, but if he was wearing a skirt, what the fuck do you care, man? Just you are so past your time, dude. Jerry Lawler, please get off the commentary desk before you say something that's really gonna get you in trouble. A couple of weeks ago, you're doing friggin' Japanese accents and stuff, like stuff from like 50 years ago people would have found funny. It's not okay anymore, Jer. I'm so happy you didn't die on TV. But, and I'm sorry to say it like this, take the hint. It's over. Just gently go out into the night as opposed to us having to old yeller you behind the shed, man. It's done. Oh, by the way, in case you were in suspense, Eric Rowan beat the dude wearing this flannel around his waist. Yeah, he tried to peek in the cage. Don't do that, kids. It's bad. Eric Rowan doesn't like it. There's a gauntlet match. I'll talk more about that later, but that's the framing for why Charlie Caruso was interviewing Andrade. Andrade speaks a lot in Spanish. And one of the things, again, because I took 2 years of Spanish in high school 20 years ago, 24 years ago, because I'm really, really old. 24 years ago, and he says something about how he says nada y nadie is going to stop whatever. He's like, she says nothing, and he looks at Zelina, and nobody is gonna prevent me from beating Humberto Carrillo. So he's still pissed at Zelina Vega. So I was thinking to myself, what's the best way they could get through? Because it seems like they're really hell bent on breaking up Zelina Vega and Humberto Carrillo. And I think to myself that if Andrade gets really, really pissy after another loss, doesn't hit Zelina or anything, you know what I mean? But just like it's really, really aggressive, and Humberto sticks up for her, and we get to think that maybe Zelina will turn and be with Humberto now, and and be a babyface manager for him because he's really bad at speaking English too. No offense to him, it's his second fucking language. That would be very difficult for somebody. I don't think if somebody said, "Hey, you're gonna go to AAA tomorrow, AAA, and you're gonna start doing promos in Spanish," I would suck at those too. But it's not his best use of Humberto Carrillo giving these promos. So anyway, my thought would be, I would love it if Zelina did go and she was working with Humberto Carrillo and she turned him evil. Like he became totally smitten with her and she got him wrapped around her little finger and he would do whatever she told him to. And she has sworn revenge on Andrade Almas for making her look like a fool. So she gets Humberto Carrillo to, beat him with a bat or something. Be fun. They'd be a little different and give Humberto some much needed edge. Yeah. They're not doing that though. They're not going to do that. No. They're leaning real hard in the whole Humberto Carrillo white meat baby face with zero personality thing. It's gonna crash and burn hard. Hey, remember Emmalina? Where they tried to make Emma into this Instagram model? That was her thing. That was her whole gimmick. And then Emma didn't do that, but they promoted her doing that for like, I don't know, a year. It felt like a year. Then she came back. She was like, I'm not Emmalina. I'm Emma. Emmalina's stupid. And then she was Emma again. And then she was out of the company. Liv Morgan, she's not have pink hair anymore, and her tongue is the correct shade of pink, not blue. And she's in a bathroom, and she's I have to change everything about myself. I have to destroy everything about me so I can become the real me. Everybody always told me what to do, what to be, what to feel, what to think, what to look like, and now I'm going to be myself. And like, I mean, this does read like a boomer version of like the girl who like eats a lot of blue raspberry Jolly Rancher so that her tongue is blue and dyes her hair pink and wears like, crazy clothes and everything. She's not doing that because her friends told her to. She's doing that because that's who she is. The girl who's like, I want to fit in, so I'm going to color my hair normal, and I'm going to be normal, and I'm going to try and have the perfect face and the perfect makeup and the perfect body. That's the girl who's being influenced by society. That's just, yeah. So they're doing the opposite of what they're saying that she's doing. Whatever. She takes off a towel. Oh, is she nude? She's in the bath. There's bubbles in the bathtub. Oh, what could be under those bubbles? Is it boobs? So Liv Morgan, her new gimmick is that she's naked in the bathtub. More to come with Liv Morgan. Oh God, this terrible poor woman. All she wanted to do was have an awesome, cool goth gimmick, probably. Like all I'm saying is this promo we saw, this little video package, was not at all the version of Liv Morgan that's been doing the tweets and the Instagrams of like just a black box, just black. That's been her. Man, that's not who this person was at all. So maybe they'll do a big old swerve and she'll show up and she'll be like, I don't know, like that girl from Beetlejuice, like Winona Ryder from Beetlejuice. That'll be her new thing. I don't know. Probably not. Whatever it is, it's gonna suck. Oh, good. This is the thing. Bobby Lashley and Lana came out. Said Rusev Day is dead now because he went through a table. That's how it works. You go through a table and your catchphrase is dead. Sorry, that's it. Lana's so awful. She's so awful. She's so awful. She's so awful. I fail to see any redeeming qualities in her as a performer at this level. I do. They're asking her to do too much, maybe, because they're asking her to talk, and that's not good for her. She can't do that. She says, She gets out a ring in a box, and she says to Bobby, I would like you to ask me to marry me. That's what she says. She means, I would like you to ask me to marry you. But she doesn't say that. She says, I would like you to ask me to marry me. My 2-year-old speaks better English. At least my 2-year-old has the whole you, me thing down. She knows what that means. Lana doesn't. What I would have loved would be for Bobby to pull out his own ring like it was his idea. Like at least that would have shown that he's not this pushover or whatever. But anybody, he proposes, and Lana flips out and says yes. Yay. Hooray for the happy couple. Bobby Lashley and Lana are going to get married on TV. It's going to be awesome. I wonder if Rusev will be there. It's the big reveal. Oh, yeah. I need Rusev. I need Rusev to be in the makeup, in the elaborate makeup as the preacher, like that Bischoff's. Was it Bischoff who was wearing the makeup as the preacher that one time? We should do that. Hey, here's our gauntlet match. Here are the people in the gauntlet match for a number one contender shot at the U.S. title. This is starting at the beginning of the second hour of Raw. Here are the men in the match. Ricochet, great, former U.S. title holder. Humberto Carrillo, fresh off of beating Andrade a couple of times. Former U.S. title, multiple-time contender. Andrade, now, he was on a huge win streak before he lost twice to Humberto Carrillo. So even though he's lost recently, I'm going to give it to him because I think also he's got a pedigree that allows him to be put in this spot. Here's who else is in the match. R-Truth. I'm going to grant you R-Truth because he's the current 24/7 champion. Is he the current 24/7 champion? I think he is. Who can tell? Who cares? Akira Tozawa, who only loses matches. Like, listen, I love Akira Tozawa. I think he's great. Big fan. Love his work in the ring. I honestly think that he could be a really fun character if you actually let him talk. Really good stuff, man. All he does is lose matches. He's lost to Buddy Murphy and Drew McIntyre and like a bunch of times in NXT to Lio Rush. And as a result of all that losing, he gets a shot at the U.S. title. And also, it's Old Timers Day version of Matt Hardy, who also loses a bunch of matches. Now, if you want to say he's grandfathered in because, you know, it's a legacy choice, fine. Here's who should have been in this match. Drew McIntyre, for one, because he's won a bunch of matches, and he's also been pissy at both AJ Styles, Rey Mysterio, and Randy Orton. Makes sense to me. Drew McIntyre, why wasn't he in this thing? You can't explain to me why he wasn't. Buddy Murphy was been winning a lot until he lost last night, and that was this close. Aleister Black, if you want to say Aleister Black can't be in the match tonight because he got his nose broke the night before, and then you say Matt Hardy comes out and he says Aleister Black wasn't able to compete. He was supposed to be in this match, but I went backstage and I said, listen, I need one more shot. If you believe in me, if you ever believed in me, I need one more shot at this. Just give me one more shot. Let me put me in this match. And Vince McMahon said yes. And then he has that promo or does that backstage, and that's the reason. So the match then is Buddy Murphy, Drew McIntyre, Humberto Carrillo, Andrade, Ricochet, and Matt Hardy, who's been given kind of a charity case. No reason at all for R-Truth, really, and Akira Tozawa to be in this match at all. Akira Tozawa defeated R-Truth with just a roll-up kind of a deal. Yeah. R-Truth then ran away from Eric Young and a bunch of jobbers because he's still the 24/7 champion. I forgot about that. Yeah, that's what happened. So Akira Tozawa got off the schneid by pinning the guy who always gets rolled up. So, and with a roll up. Ricochet comes out next, and he and Akira Tozawa had a very good match. Akira Tozawa is excellent. He's an excellent worker. He loses matches. He lost this one to the Recoil, but it was a very good match. Ricochet and Tozawa can tear it up anytime. I'll watch it. Doesn't mean I believe Tozawa has a chance of winning. Ricochet then defeated Matt Hardy. Matt Hardy was next out. This was actually a really good match. This felt like Ricochet saying, I grew up idolizing the Hardy Boys. It's why I do what I do. I get to have a match with Matt Hardy. I want I want I want this to be awesome. And Matt Hardy talking to him backstage and saying, "It's an honor to wrestle you. You are the future. I can't wait. Let's do this." And they went out and kicked ass. Fucking great. Good for Matt Hardy. He loses to a roll up, and then he gets out of the ring and he's pissed off. I mean, this is the little thing, that the subtle thing they're doing with him is that he doesn't like where he's going right now. He doesn't like it. So maybe he'll eventually convince somebody to let him be broken again. He's already broken in his own YouTube series. He's like reincarnated as reborn as Broken Matt. So maybe they'll let him do it on TV before he goes away. Humberto Carrillo comes out next, and he and Ricochet were great. It was a great match. Very good. Long match, like 15, 20 minutes. Good stuff. Ricochet's just wrestled 2 long matches, decently long matches. And he's hurt. And he was doing everything he could to try and beat Humberto Carrillo, and Humberto Carrillo giving him a best shot. And Humberto Carrillo is wrestling heel. He has to be, because the other dude has been wrestling for 40 minutes, 50 minutes. So like he's yeah. And he's laying it into him. He's not going easy on him. This is when I thought, like, unless you're gonna turn this guy heel, this booking makes no sense. The way you would actually do it is you have Ricochet go the distance with Akira Tozawa and then Matt Hardy, and then you have Andrade come out, and you have Andrade go through Ricochet in like 4 minutes. Be really vicious about it. Beat him up a lot after the belt, and then Humberto Carrillo comes out, and then Humberto Carrillo and Andrade have their rematch, and maybe Andrade wins, maybe Humberto Carrillo wins, but that's the way you do it. You don't have the baby face, the super white meat baby face you're trying to push as the guy everyone's going to root for in the 2020s, and have him come in and beat up a dude who's tired after wrestling 2 matches already. That's just odd. But it doesn't matter. None of this mattered. The whole hour didn't matter, because after Humberto Carrillo beats Ricochet with another amazing moonsault, Andrade's Zelina Vega's been watching from on top of the ramp, and Carrillo's like looks up there, and Zelina Vega's like, and here comes Andrade. Psych! Andrade comes from behind him, beats him up a lot, and then hits his hammerlock DDT onto the exposed concrete on the outside. Because after you had one young star get a concussion the night before, why not do it again? I'm sure Carrillo's fine. It's a weird spot to take at this point. Anyway, they call off the match. Like, they just call it off. Carrillo's not like the winner by disqualification. And Andrade never pinned Carrillo. It's not like they said, okay, well, Carrillo can't compete anymore, so Andrade's the winner. They just said the match didn't happen. That entire hour never took place. So Rey Mysterio comes out and runs off Andrade Almas, and they take off Carrillo on a stretcher, and that entire match didn't happen. That's the answer to the riddle. How can you make an hour-long number 1 contendership gauntlet match never happen? This is how. Because, and admittedly, this is a very good use of all of the talent that's going to happen right now, but you could have just had this all happen without the gauntlet match. You could have. You got us all invested in seeing who's going to, like, this is, WWE is really, really bad about this. They're like, hey, here's this thing, watch this thing, this thing's going to be awesome, you're going to really get invested in this. Psych, it doesn't matter. They do that too often. They don't like to reward you for being invested in things that you like. So, I don't know. Seth and the AOP come out. Rey Mysterio is there, and he backs up into the ring, and the AOP get in there, and Rey throws the first punch. But let's be honest, AOP were going to throw a punch if Rey didn't. And they're beating him up, and they get him down. He's down for the count anyway, and Seth's got the pipe. The pipe that Rey Mysterio used on Brock Lesnar, that then Rey Mysterio bequeathed unto Kevin Owens, and Kevin Owens used that pipe to beat up AOP's fancy limo van. Seth's got it now. He's got custody of the steel pipe. And so he says, "Hey Ray, what are you doing, man? Why are you fighting? We didn't come down here to fight. We wanted to talk. But you threw the first punch, so I really like this whole. I don't like having to do this thing, but I have to because I'm a leader, and leaders lead by example. And so the example I'm going to give you right now is me kicking your ass. That's a really good thing for Seth Rollins to do. He's very good at it. So he says, you should never have helped Kevin Owens, and I don't like you, and blah blah blah. And but I'm merciful, so I'm just gonna let you sit here because I don't want to do that. And then of course, psych. I keep saying psych tonight. It's a weird thing. It's very very 90s. He does a stomp to Ray before he gets out of the ring. So then backstage, Seth Rollins says, "I could have put him in the hospital, but I didn't because I am merciful. But I didn't put him in the hospital because then he couldn't answer my challenge." And Charlie Caruso, why do you have her do this stuff? Just have Seth say he couldn't answer my challenge for his U.S. title because they go, he couldn't answer my challenge, and then they make Charlie Caruso take the mic back and go, challenge. What challenge? Like we all fucking know what challenge it is. Rey Mysterio is the U.S. title holder. We know what the challenge is. Why do you make us? Oh damn! I just hate little stupid things like this. All it would take would be Seth Rollins to say, "Well, since there's no winner of the gauntlet match, I'm offering myself as a challenger for a Mysterio." But they don't ever mention the gauntlet match thing, never winning or whatever. They don't mention that ever again. It's like it never fucking happened. You could just have Rey Mysterio out in the ring cutting a promo, and out come the AOP, and they beat him up, and then says, "I want your title," and it gets you the same thing without that whole hour because they had to tape 2 fucking Raws tonight. They did one for tonight, and then they did one for next week. So let's waste a whole hour of it with a big gauntlet match that doesn't actually mean anything. I really do need to get my blood pressure checked, I think. Anyway, Seth says, "Yeah, I think it's time to lead by example. I think I should be the one on top here." Like, he doesn't say it, but he means it. Which is, again, the U.S. title is the title on Raw. Why? Because the WWE title is not on Raw. It's not on SmackDown either. It's not on TV. They put the goddamn biggest belt in the entire company on Brock Lesnar, and then he fucked off back to Saskatchewan or wherever he's hunting elk this time of year. So the U.S. title is the most important thing. So it's the only important thing. So Seth Rollins wants it, which means you don't have a mid-card belt. You don't have something for the Buddy Murphys and the Humberto Carrillos and the Andrades to go after because Seth Rollins is going to take it for his own. I don't know if I love that. But again, I do love all the healing that Seth is doing. I think this is a great thing for his character. The AOP are a perfect foil for him. Something I should mention, because spoiler of this is going to come into play later. Samoa Joe talking about the AOP. He doesn't. He respects these dudes, but he does not like where they're going. And I love that he draws a distinction. I have done despicable things in my life, as in my career, but I did it as a means to an end. I did it for a reason. These guys like hurting people because they like hurting people. And there's a difference. I do it because I need to. They do it because they like it. And that's great. That Samoa Joe is everything that Jerry Lawler is not. A two-man booth, Vic Joseph and Samoa Joe, would be so good. So good. Why are you running it with Jerry Lawler? Why? This is really good. I love the way that Joe talks about AOP. And it's ironic because for years, Sean and I were talking about how much we really wanted Samoa Joe to lead the AOP. And now he's leading the vocalization of he's leading, our voice against them in a very smart way. I like that a lot. Hey, here's how deep the NXT women's division is. There's a woman who signed NXT. Her name is Deonna Purrazzo. She's fucking awesome. Her name, they call her the Virtuosa. She's got an amazing Fujiwara armbar. She likes to hurt people. She had a match tonight on Raw versus Asuka, a singles match. And it was a banger. These two women laid into each other. They did not pull any punches. This was some good ass shit. Like this a lot. If Deonna Purrazzo was on SmackDown, she was like on the roster of SmackDown, she would immediately be the third best woman on that show behind Sasha Banks and Bayley. Only those two. She's so much better than Lacey Evans. Are you fucking kidding me? And anybody else who's on SmackDown. So much better. Alexa Bliss, on the mic, fine. But in a fight, I'm taking Deonna Purrazzo, man. So Deonna Purrazzo cannot get on TV on Wednesdays. But she had an amazing match with Asuka, who in a shoot fight is super. She's way at the top. She's so great. And Deonna Purrazzo looks great against her. Lost, but looked great against her. And she'd be so much better than anybody on SmackDown. There's an alternate. I keep talking about alternate universes. There's an alternate universe in which Bianca Belair is on SmackDown, and she's an awesome tweener type who doesn't care about anybody else. She's not babyface. She doesn't care at all about that kind of crap. But she had, like, in order to get, another women's match on the card last night, she has to go through Sasha Bayley and the Curtain Jerker to get a title shot at Bayley. Sasha Banks and the Curtain Jerker to go get a title shot at Bayley, and later in the night, last night at TLC. That would have been awesome. Bianca Belair would be so over in so many ways on SmackDown. She'd be huge. You could put the title belt on her tomorrow. But this match was great. Deonna Purrazzo looked amazing, and I really hope this is the beginning of them actually utilizing her on NXT, or hell, put her on Raw or SmackDown right now. She's certainly talented enough to do it, and she'd be a great addition to those bereft women's divisions. Becky Lynch had a really cool little interview about how she needs to face Asuka because Asuka is the only person who seems to have her number, and she doesn't need to do it for WWE Universe or for the powers that be or for the title. She needs to do it to prove something to herself. I thought this was great. This was great. Yeah, I thought this was really, really good. Becky Lynch and Asuka is an amazing program. I think that Asuka should beat Becky Lynch for the title at Royal Rumble and become Asuka 2 belts. Become what Becky was out of Mania and give Becky another reason to get back and finally beat Asuka at Mania. Like that could be her full redemption story or whatever, get her all the way back to being the man again. Rey Mysterio says that his time will come to face Andrade again. My 2 years of high school Spanish let me know that he says that you have a lot of things to learn about being a man, is what he says to Andrade Almas. But before he ever fights Andrade, he accepts Seth Rollins' title challenge for next week. This is not a spoiler alert, but if you think they're going to have Seth Rollins beat Rey Mysterio for the U.S. title on a taped holiday week Raw, that ain't happening. So don't think that if you have to go out and, go Christmas caroling on the 23rd with your aunt and your uncle and your cousins, that you're going to miss the big triumphant moment when Seth Rollins beats Rey Mysterio, because that's not going to happen. They're not going to do that. They're going to stretch that out. Hey, Randy Orton and AJ Styles. AJ Styles and Randy Orton had a match. Most of it was focused on AJ Styles going after Randy Orton's knee, because Randy Orton was in the calf crusher for a really long time. But he won, hit him with the RKO, because that's Randy Orton. He has a long match and then hits a move out of nowhere, and it's not my cup of tea. But he pinned AJ. I think it was like out of a phenomenal forearm into the RKO. That's usually how those matches work. AJ Styles and Randy Orton. Most of their matches, I feel like, will end with a phenomenal forearm being countered into an RKO. And then the OC attacked. This was actually, I had to find it on my DVR in a really weird way, because it went to the overrun. It was like 1 minute and 45 seconds into the overrun, I think. Maybe even longer. It was weird. I had to find it somewhere. But yeah, the OC decided that they're pissy at Randy for beating their pal AJ. So the three of them beat up Randy. And then the Viking Raiders run out, and they're best pals with Randy Orton now. And that awesome Viking Raiders and Kevin Owens versus AOP and Seth Rollins feud is not happening, so that we may bring you Randy Orton and the Viking Raiders versus the OC, because everybody wanted to see that. Yay. Wasn't Randy Orton in a faction with the Revival like 5 minutes ago with the polar opposite of the Viking Raiders? Like, dastardly heels, and now he's on Raw, and so he's a tweener, and so whatever. Anyway, the OC got the better of it, and they stood tall with AJ as the show ended. So get ready for lots of 6-man tags that involve Randy Orton standing on the apron for most of the match. That's going to be great. Can't wait for that. So yeah, we're going to be back here on Friday talking about the big dog and the king and all the crap that's going on SmackDown. Hey, the American Dragon's back, so that might be fun to watch. Also, if you want to hear me talk about wrestling that's good, you can watch me on the Wednesday Night Wars podcast with me and Warren Hayes and Sean Rossap, talking about good wrestling, the one night of the week that we can watch good wrestling, because Monday and Friday suck ass. I got merch, shop.feifel.com. Got a shirt. Every shirt that you buy, I get a little taste, a little taste of the cash, and that helps me out. That's a direct way to support me, myself, in that you're all watching this on Fightful Select. You're already supporting Fightful, and that's great. We're really happy about that. Listen, real talk, being a part of Fightful since the very beginning has been an awesome part of my life, and I want that to continue as long as possible. And the best way for them to know that they need to keep me around is that everybody watches my show, my own personal show that I have here twice a week. And also, maybe you could drive up my merch sales, because I hear that's how they tell who's a big time player in the game, is their merch sales. So shop.fightful.com. Yeah, everybody, come back and watch on Friday, and then also next week when I'll talk about the taped version of Raw. Maybe I'll make it quick since we'll all know the spoilers by then. I don't know. Maybe I'll have to yell a lot about some of the stuff they did. Yikes. Anyway, this has been a quick TLC recap. Well, it wasn't that quick. And a long Raw recap. It's an hour and 20 minutes plus of a supersized episode of Sour Graps. And I have been your host, Alex Pawlowski. And everything except Buddy and Alistair sucks.